All right. Well, Steve, welcome to the Iron Life podcast, dude. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come on and educate the audience here and myself.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude. So why don't we kick it off first with just telling everybody a little bit more about, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, man. I'm a man of many hats, right? So I do a lot of different stuff. I started out as a gym owner, right? I owned a gym in upstate New York for 10 years. Exited that gym in 2015 so that I could dig more into my consulting and coaching. So Luca Hocevar and I have owned a consulting business in the fitness and gym space since 2011. And we continue to do that in a program called Yo Grow Your Gym. I also have a program called FU28 and On Fire 90, which coaches business owners, typically male business owners, on how to control their energy, their focus, their attention, which improves their relationships, their bodies, right? The physical piece. The body's the fastest path to power. I also own Warrior Green Company. So I got a lot of stuff going on, man.
You sound like a busy dude, man. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of stuff. So let's first start then, I guess, with, you owned a gym and then selling that gym, right? So yeah. What does that process look like? Because there's definitely a lot of gym owners that listen to the show that may be interested in one day selling their gym. And I know a lot, myself included, there's a lot of us that don't even know what that process looks like and where to begin. So maybe you could start kind of with that.
Sure. Well, man, right? Gym industry's tough. And I loved my gym when I opened it. And then by the time I was ready to sell it, which was like year 8, I was ready to just get out. I was the head coach at Wake Up Warrior at the time as well. So my transition out of just being a gym owner, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I always felt like more than a coach, more than a trainer, more than a gym owner. I felt like I was destined to do other things. And so I loved the gym. I got to work with thousands and thousands of people. That it was passionate. It was a passion of mine because I was heavy once myself. I was almost 300 pounds. So I made the transition, stopped playing football, lost all the weight. And so the gym was great, man, until it wasn't. And it started to feel like a job. It started to feel almost like I created my own prison. And this was in upstate New York, in a county that was ranked top 10 worst places to own a business in Forbes magazine. I was the first gym of my type in that area. Proved that it would work, did really well. And yeah, man, it's just, I knew in my heart that it was time to move on, right? So the process was simple for me. And this is not what I suggest anybody else do if you're actually looking to make money on selling your gym. Number one, most of the time, if you're the personality of the gym and you leave, the only thing that's of value really is your equipment and your client list. And so, dude, I'm not here to bullshit anybody. I sold my gym for pennies on the dollar. I knew I was making great money in consulting. It was time for me to go. So don't do what I did, which was just basically give it away. And that's what I did. But I just knew it was time to go, and I didn't want any strings attached. I didn't want any worries, concerns, so I just left. So I will say this. If you're looking at other options in your life besides the gym, I would say, man, make sure you have your next step set up. Right at that time, Luke and I were already doing really well in consulting. I was dwarfing the money I was making in my gym with consulting. And then obviously I was working for Wake Up Warrior. I was a hired consultant by training for Warriors. And so, yeah, I had other things going on, right? So That's what I would say is, make sure that you're just not burn it to the ground, right? Because that's probably the biggest piece of advice I could give on this. Number 2 is, man, if my mentor, Garrett White, who runs Wake Up Warrior, right? Garrett was my coach first before I went and worked with him. And the gym for me was rung number 2 in life. And I wanted to get to rung 12. And the scary part is you got to take your foot off of rung 2 to get to 12. And that's what the gym was. So, that's what I tell people is if you guys need insight, you need coaching, consulting on any of this stuff, obviously we have programs for this. I'm a salesman, right? I'm a coach first. So I'm a coach first, I'm a salesman second. But what I can also say as step 3 is hire somebody that's been there and done that, right? Regardless if it's having an incredible relationship, working through trauma, marketing, selling, whatever, right? Is like, there's a lot of bullshit out there. And that's why first thing, Chris, when you asked this, I was like, man, I can't wait to tell you the story on this because I sold my gym for almost nothing, legitimately. And to this day, I'm like, don't fucking care. Don't care, you know. I was just done, and I'm sure you can relate. So, and I know that you're, you know, you want to do other things. There's nothing wrong with keeping your gym and doing other things, but it's hard to serve 1, 2, 3, 4 different masters, right? So hopefully that answered your question. But yeah, man, I walked away and just wanted a clean break.
Yeah, man. No, it definitely did. And I could totally relate to the fact. So I still love running a gym. You know, I'm not as involved anymore as coaching every session on the floor. Like those days are long gone, but I'm still involved, and I still love having the community. But with that said, I do have other ambitions, and I, you know, have my online coaching program, and I run retreats for men, and I do these different things, and I have these other ambitions. And about a year ago, before I moved into the bigger location, we expanded back in August of 21. I had to put all that stuff on hold just to focus on the gym, because I was at the point where I'm like, fuck, man, I got to figure this out, because I need better systems. I need to be able to manage this whole thing better so I can do other things at the level that I want to do them. Because I feel like, or I know that if I don't have the right people, the right systems in place, then there's no way I'm going to be able to do all these other things that I want to do. So I can completely relate. And then maybe one day I'll have to make a tough decision myself too, but we're not there yet. We're still building everything over here. But maybe then you could talk a little bit about Wake Up Warrior, kind of what that is and what your role looked like for them.
Yeah, I mean, I was a student first. So I was just a regular guy, went through the program. It was by far the most money I ever invested in a coaching program in my life. You know, I worked with Sam Bakhtiar, who passed away in 2020, actually 2 months after my dad, which was a wild experience, right? And Sam helped me a lot, man. Sam put me on my first stage. And then I worked with Kevin Nations, right, who really has coached some of the top coach consultant programs on the planet, Ryan Stewman, Garrett, all those guys. So I knew Garrett from before, went through Wake Up Warrior as a student. It helped me a lot. And then I legitimately bugged him every day for a year to let me coach for him. So at first he said no, because I wasn't married and didn't have kids. And that program is predominantly for married businessmen with kids. But I don't like to hear the word no. When somebody tells me no, I hear not right now. So I volunteered and helped with Warrior Week for about 6 months on my own dime. And the lesson in that is, man, like most people hear no and stop. I don't give a fuck. I knew I needed to be there to learn and to be a wingman to him for that year and a half. I knew it. And I learned more and was challenged more in that year and a half than anything I've ever done. So I ended up being the head coach. I coached thousands of guys through that program. I coached Tony Robbins' son. I coached his financial guy. I coached some of the most successful business people on planet Earth. I mean, actually WarriorCon 4 is happening right now. The only reason I'm not there is because I just flew back from LA and the timelines didn't jive. But that's where my partnership with Warrior Greens came as well. So I had the idea during my Warrior Week in 2014, because one of the main teaching points of Warrior is have your greens drink, right? So I was taking athletic greens at that time, and I was like, Garrett, you should have your own greens drink. So my business partner, Stefano, and I went and met Garrett in 2019 at ClickFunnels, the event they put on every year, and we sold them on the idea, and now we're 3 years into that. So we just came out with a Reds product, which is going to replace pre-workouts and stuff like that. So yeah, man, it's I guess the key point here is that relationships are everything. And when you hear the word no, it just means not right now. It doesn't mean that you have to bug people, but I tend to do that because I knew what I wanted and I won't be denied. That's how I look at life at this point, right? It's like, man, the reason I'm where I'm at in every aspect of my life is because I just didn't listen to the word no. So yeah, I became coach and ran through that. Went through, I don't know how many Warrior Weeks is to coach. And then the end of 2016, early 2017, I went on to do my own thing again, because turns out I don't work well when I'm being told what to do. So yeah, man, Garrett and I are still super tight, talk all the time. I met some of my best buddies through that program. And then obviously Luca went in to Warrior after I did. And then, a bunch of other fitness folks went through after that. So yeah, man, it's been great.
Well, dude, you talked about, volunteering your time for, what would you say, 6 months?
6 months.
For 6 months volunteering your time, because you said you felt that you knew you needed to be there. Like, what did you feel? Like, did you feel that one day this was going to turn into a career for you? Or did you just feel like, hey, these are the people that I need to be surrounded by?
Yeah, all of the above. I knew number one that I was supposed to be there to help. My gut is never wrong. My instincts are never wrong. And the faster you realize that in life is the faster you'll get the results that you want. Now, obviously, the goalpost always moves, right? No matter what, we get what we want. And here's the problem I see in people is you achieve something, you don't celebrate it, and then wonder why you don't keep achieving, right? So yeah, I felt like I needed to be there. I knew I needed to be there. My gut was telling me I needed to be there, even at times where my mind was like, dude, what are we doing? I'm spending all this money. I'm flying from New York at the time. So New York to California, I'm flying every month on my own dime, paying for my own hotel, spending 5 days. That's what Warrior Week was back then. 5 days, just giving up my time and with no promise. There was no promise that I was going to end up being a coach there. I was just like, man, I really love what he's doing. I felt connected to it, and I knew I needed to be there for myself and for what they were doing inside of that program, which was helping dudes really get their heads out their asses, right? So it's still something I do now in my new programs. I'm just launching these new programs now. It's called FU28, Fired Up 28, but also FU to your stories, your past beliefs, bullshit relationships, all that stuff. And then On Fire 90, which is our 90-day program. So yeah, man, it's been a long journey, and it's one that I appreciate daily, right? My gratitude for being a part of that thing at that time specifically. At that time, things were really starting to bump there, right? And I played a small part in it, so I feel great about that, and the fact that I grew more in that time period than probably 2-3 years combined before that.
Yeah, man. I think that for people listening, there's so much value and so much power in that. Like, you had no fucking idea what was going to happen, but you're flying yourself across the country every month for 6 months on your own dime, not knowing what the end result is going to be, but you did it anyway because of all of these things that you just talked about, right? And I think there's so many people that would have just thrown in the towel and said, it's not worth it. They would have justified, they would have talked themselves out of doing it. But also just like, there's smaller things like for younger coaches, right? Younger coaches that they want to learn, they want to grow in this industry, they want to make more money, but they're not willing to volunteer their time and get around other gym owners or coaches that are doing the thing that they want to do, right? Or even paying them, right? Paying and investing in yourself and a mentor. And I just think that there's so much value. Like, talk about a secret to success. Like, that's one of them. Like, get around people that are doing it and volunteer your time, do whatever you have to do it. And most people don't, man. So one, kudos to you, and thanks for sharing that story. But a quick segue here, like, speaking of gym owners, you consult a lot of them. So let's dive into that side of things and talk about some of the mistakes that you see, the common mistakes that gym owners and trainers are making. They want to grow their business, they want to make more money, but maybe there's some common themes that you see, and then we'll start with that and see where that goes.
Yeah, man. Before I roll into answering that, and this kind of goes with this as well. It's like that. I tell that story not so people think, oh man, like Steve's awesome, right? Like, at the end of the day, I want to tell you guys that it's like I started. If gym owners or fitness people are predominantly listening to that, I started exactly where you're at. And so people are going to tell you can't. Fuck them. Nobody knows what you're capable of. Nobody knows your true potential, not even you. That's actually what I do as a coach. My job as a coach is to help people see their potential, believe in themselves to the point where all the bullshit stories and all the nonsense that runs in your head every day gets quiet, right? Because the biggest thing that I see in the fitness industry specifically is ego. It's fucking ego. I don't want to learn. I don't want to pay the money for a mentor, or I'll invest in this when I have the money to do it, which is just an ass backwards way of looking at it. You want me to pay you to learn from you? Or my favorite one is, I'm just going to call myself an expert. This happens in consulting and coaching more than anywhere. I've never done anything. I've never created anything. I've never built a successful business. And I'm not being a hater. I'm just being honest. But then I'm going to sell a product that is just built on bullshit, right? So at the end of the day, fitness has such a low barrier to entry, and so does some of the coaching consulting shit. Now, here's what I love about what's happening in the world right now is there's a cleanse coming, right? The bubble's going to burst. And so the people that are full of shit aren't going to do very well. And so, yeah, Chris, I agree with you, man. It's like, hey, you want to look like, if I was just starting in fitness, I would go to Bigger Ground with Luca and I would follow him around for like 3 months and for free. Because in my opinion, Luca is probably one of the best coaches on planet Earth when it comes to fitness, dude. The guy's an encyclopedia and he lives it. Looks like he was built out of fucking stone because he trains like that, right? Or insert name here, right? There's a lot of amazing coaches in the fitness space, right? I've coached with a lot of different people, man. When I got started, I worked with Pat Rigsby and Nick Berry. I worked with Sam, right? We work with all different types of people, man. And I was always willing to learn. So drop your fucking ego. And as a 20 or 30-year-old, this is going to be hard. I'm 43. I had to beat that motherfucker down. And to this day, you still have to. Now, do I want it completely gone? No, because I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I wouldn't be able to step on a stage and blaze the shit out of that thing if I didn't have a little ego, right? So how do you do that? Well, I've trained jiu-jitsu for 15 years. I trained kickboxing at Killcliff FC with Henry Hoof. I'm lucky enough to train at these places, and I'm humbled all the time. So keeping your ego in check is so important, man. Like, that's number one. That's the mistake I see in the fitness space more times than not. I already know that. 4 most dangerous words in the English language. I already know that, right? So I wake up every day and I go, holy shit, I know nothing. And I promise you guys, the more I learn, the more I'm like, I've been doing this wrong all along. And so being able to do that allows you to stay open. And if you're open, you can listen. And if you can listen, you can learn. And when you learn, you actually grow. So that's number one. Now, if we go like down into the technical part of it, like, I'm not a gym owner anymore, right? Luca is. I sold my gym. So I can look at things from that cool perspective. Like, I built a gym up in a really tough area, and now I help other people do it after selling my gym, right? But I'm not in the trenches anymore doing it. So what I teach inside of our program is the mindset piece. It's the accountability piece. It's the self-belief piece, the energy, the attention, marketing, sales, systems, fulfillment. But I'm not teaching anything about fitness because I train to choke the fuck out of people. I don't train other people anymore, right? I train myself to be healthy, have longevity in the things that I like to do. So that's the cool part about Yo Grow Your Gym, right? That's our program. Bam. So Yo Grow Your Gym that's what it's about. We have this program called the Accelerator, the 60-day Accelerator, and it's 60 days to really dial in all of the simple, no or low cost things that you can do in your business and apply them forever and make money. But more than that, make money and not go crazy, right? So you know the stress of running a gym. You know what comes along with it. And so if your ego's running the show, you're going to sink the boat. You're going to sink the boat because you're not going to be willing to learn from other people that have done it, right? And in my mind, it's like, man, I don't want to take the hard way in life. I want to learn from people that have been there, done that, and that can give me some really cool insights based in experience and wisdom, not theory. And so that I can apply them and move faster, right? Speed kills. I want to implement as fast as I can. Now, I will say this. I think 75% of gym owners or fitness people don't actually do paid marketing. And so here's the weird part about this is like the weird, I don't even know what word I would use here, but it's really strange to watch. Dichotomy. I'm going to use some fancy words, right? Yeah. It's super weird because you have people that are really into themselves and that they want people to follow them. And they want the adoration and they want the influence and they want the followers, but they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is. It's fucking crazy to me. So you want to build a business, but you don't want to market. And then you're going to lose your mind when you don't have clients coming in the door. So that's what we teach in Yo Grow Your Gym is like, the mindset piece, remove all the stories and bullshit so that we can get somebody ready to listen so they can actually implement really, really fast so they can do low and no cost and paid ads and all the other referral strategies and the stuff that we've proven in combined like 40 years in the industry so that they can get results faster. The end. And this is not my sales pitch. This is what we do, right? So yeah, I mean, dude, we can talk about mistakes all day long. I think that if you look at the industry and you look at the world right now, obesity keeps going up. And so we're not solving the problem, right? And that's the hard part, right? It's like, I'm going to go off the cuff here for a second, just really quickly, because here's one thing I'll say. Mm-hmm. If you really want to help people, you have to speak to their real problems, not shoot content of you with your shirt off doing dumbbell fucking curls. Okay. I just want to be clear. At the end of the day, they don't care about that. What do people care about? Themselves, right? People care about themselves. We all do. And that's okay. So if you're going to put content out, yeah, put your exercise stuff out, but you're also doing what a billion people are doing. You really want to capture attention? Solve a problem. Like, talk to their problems and their pain consistently and build trust that way, right? And then run traffic to it. Your organic posts, if you guys look, how many people are actually seeing them? Especially if you're like me and you post some political shit. Then you get shadow banned like 15 times, guilty, and then nobody's seeing your shit, right? So at the end of the day, that's why you have to, guys, you have to, if you are running a business, you have to run paid ads. I'll give you guys an example. At Warrior Greens, it's like status quo in the supplement industry. 25% of your revenue goes back into marketing, minimum, or you will die. How much of your revenue are you putting back in? Think about it. Most gym owners are putting zero and then wondering why. So I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but it's like, man, you have to believe in yourself enough to put a megaphone on what you're doing and saying so that more people can experience what you're doing. Now, do we want to put that megaphone on to you just asking people to join your shit? No. You should be teaching them. You should be talking to them about their real problems. Like, if you're yelling at people about their nutrition, nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. Do you want, if you were in that place, would you want your nose rubbed in the fact that you can't control yourself around food? No. So what's the real problem? Probably trauma, probably past shit that happened when they were a kid. They probably don't love themselves. They probably like have other issues besides eating broccoli. And this is where people that have always been ripped and in shape don't understand. So if you already know a lot about training, maybe start studying behavior change, psychology, right? There's a lot of shit out there that comes along with this game. And the people that do the best and last the longest in the gym game, it's one of two paths. They either don't give a shit about any of this and they just sell bait and switch offers all day and they just crush because they know they're preying on people that are willing to do like the Planet Fitness shit where they just pay their membership and don't show up. Or you truly care, you love what you do even though sometimes you hate what you do, and you fucking grind and you do okay. The 0.001% of gym owners that really crush, they're very few and far between, specifically after scamdemic. Right. So listen, Luke and I are trying to help, right? We're trying to help these people understand. It's just sometimes you have to get sick of your own bullshit most of the time before you actually change. You guys know this shit. So the third piece of advice, or maybe second piece of advice I'd give gym owners, trainers, is like, take your own fucking medicine, by the way. I don't teach things I don't do. So like in my programs, this is the 90-day program. This is my highest level. This is a custom planner that my students get. I do this shit every day, morning and night, every single day. I'm not going to show you because it's custom. You can only get it inside of the program. But my point is, stop teaching shit you don't do. You make people feel less than. You could be in stellar shape, which means what? Well, you could probably throw a little more shit down your gullet and get away with it. But you portray yourself as perfect. So, man, coming from a former fat kid, like that shit is not going to connect to people that are struggling with their weight, especially after, I'm say it again, scamdemic time, right? Obesity went through the fucking roof because of that horse shit. People are more unhealthy than ever. So help them solve their problems, which is be a part of a community that actually cares about them, right? Customer experience to me is like top of the list. I had clients back in the day that didn't lose a pound, but they stayed with us for years because they had fun. Got healthier, but they definitely did not lose weight. And that's their prerogative. So I know I just word vomited all over you guys for like 20 minutes, but at the end of the day, I'm passionate about people, not just gym, right? Because to me, the body is the fastest path to power. So in all of my programs, fitness is an aspect.
Dude, so much there, man. So much. We could take that in so many different ways. So, but I think, so a couple things. And the first one was the most obvious, where you were talking about paid advertising and most gym owners not being comfortable investing in advertising what they're doing, which, to be completely honest, you know, I opened my gym back in 2012. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, man. And I was a firefighter for 4 years. The salary that I was making from the fire department was paying my expenses at the gym. Otherwise, I would have been out of business, right? Yeah. And to speak on ego with to the same token here, you know, I was in a place, and I was 25 years old at the time. I'm 35 now. At 25, I was saying to myself, well, I know everything there is to know about training. I know everything there is to know about this, but you know, I'll figure it out. This shit will work. Dude, I would have been out of business in 6 months, right? If I didn't have the fire department. Now, with that said, along the line, like, I knew that this is what I wanted. Like, this is what I love to do, and this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I want to be the best at. So I then started investing in myself. And when I started to invest in myself, then all of a sudden I'm learning how to market, I'm learning how to sell. And of course, you continue to grow and learn about training, about nutrition, about change psychology, and all these things. And then things start to come together. But I guess the reason I'm sharing that story is because I could relate to the people that are there right now, not willing to take that next step, that investment in themselves, the investment in their advertisement. And I guess, like, what do they need to do in order to make that shift? Like, is it as simple as, hey, just fucking do it? Like, is somebody listening to this right now that's not making those investments, one, in themselves, and two, in their business and in their marketing? Like, what, maybe they don't know where to begin. So, like, what is step one for them?
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, right? So step one is admitting you don't know. Step two is find somebody that you resonate with that's proven themselves and pay them to learn. If you don't have the money, find it. People always find money for the things they actually want. Stop boozing, stop drinking coffee out, stop wasting money, cancel all your fucking subscriptions to shit. Be willing to go to the end of earth to be successful, the fucking end. You can't play business and be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's no playing fucking business. And listen, you learn as you go. You're not going to be amazing at it when you start. I sucked. I almost went out of business in my first year. So yeah, you have to, like, be willing to suck at it at first. Number two, with paid marketing, spend $1 a day. Start with $1 a day, dude. Like, you can spend $1 a day, and it's going to give you at least some data on what's working and what's not. Chris, do you mind if we pause this for 1 second?
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me pause for 1 second. I'll be right back, dude.
Yep. We're good.
Cool. So the other thing, man, is, like, self-belief is so important. And I think that's what's crazy about fitness, right? Is you have people that physically believe in themselves at a deep level, but maybe the self-conscience and self-doubt creep in when it comes to business and feeling like they're worth making more money. I know that when I started, it was really weird to accept money from people for training because I loved it, right? So I would discount my services at the point of sale. I just almost made up a new word, discount, right? It's discount your services at the point of sale. So yeah, I would discount it, and they wouldn't even be, like, giving me an objection. I'd be like, you know what, I'll give it to you for $100 a month. And they'd be like, okay, right? It wasn't like they were going to give me an objection. So what's that about? That's about self-belief and self-worth and what I value myself and my service at. And so I think that comes into play. Actually, I more than think it. I know it comes into play. And that's why, even though people want to make more money, they don't. They don't make more money because they feel like they don't deserve it. And we don't get what we deserve, unfortunately. We get what we are ruthlessly committed to. And so that's why I was saying earlier, is like, you can't play business. You know, you can't play business. And you can very clearly see the people that do not play, right? I mean, I knew Alex Hormozy before he was doing very well. That kid don't play, right? Look at what he's doing now. Yeah. You know, I look at Luca, I look at myself, I look at, if we're in the fitness space, right? As you can definitely see the guys and the girls that have decided that I'm taking this very seriously. And I'm not going to do busy work. I'm not going to distract myself with bullshit. I'm going to get my mind really clear first thing in the morning, and then I'm going to knock things out efficiently so that I can actually have a life, right? And so most gym owners also are buried underneath their own workload, right? As most trainers and gym owners, they trade hours for dollars. And I started out that way too. Just realized that now I don't really work a lot. And so you can get there too. You just have to be willing to do what I've done. And that's why when I do podcasts or I do, content, or I try to give it all away. Because guess what? I know you're not going to do it without accountability or a push. You're not going to. Most people, 99% of people, will listen to this and be like, oh, great episode. That was really cool, Chris. Thanks, man. And then do nothing. Why? Because they don't believe that they can. They believe that if I could put work into this, but I'm not going to get the result I want, or I don't deserve it. So they will sabotage themselves at every fucking turn. And that's what most people do. That's what most people do. So if you want more clients, maybe help them believe in themselves, stop sabotaging themselves, love themselves, and then they'll actually drop fat and add muscle and all the cool shit that you guys want to do.
Amazing, bro. Amazing. Now, here's an important question. I think because for whatever reason, I feel like in the fitness space, because I was there myself, like you said, it was hard for you to charge people. Dude, like I struggled to ask people for money in the beginning. Bedros, and I worked with him for over 4 years. And he was the first to tell me, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you got to get your shit together. And so it wasn't until somebody slapped me in the face and told me to get my shit together that I actually got my shit together. But also, you're a consultant for different industries, right? And you just predominantly work in fitness, it seems. Correct me if I'm wrong. But do you feel like in this industry specifically that is more of a problem than in other industries?
It depends, right? So in the gym space, it's probably 50-50 for me. I work with a lot of people that aren't in the gym space anymore. That's like my new programs. It's just for male business owners and entrepreneurs. It's not for fitness. But yes, yeah, I think that in fitness, I see it a lot more, but it's also, there's different levels of entrepreneurship that I'm dealing with, right? You have guys on this side of things rolling into my newer stuff where it's more big ballers, right? It's people that are doing more. So their problems are different in terms of business. The personal problems, usually the fucking same, just so you know. Guys that I coach that make multi-millions a year probably have very similar personal problems as you, right? Money solves money problems, by the way. Money solves money problems. Hard stop. And so, yeah, fitness is weird in certain ways. In terms of playing business. I see, this is the thing that drives me the most nuts, right? It's like, or here's my favorite comment that I've gotten 1,000 times since I've been coaching in the fitness space. Like, oh, your stuff is great, man. And I need to take a break from coaching because I'm going to take the time to put the stuff that I've learned into play. Wait a minute. You haven't put it into play yet? How fucking long have you been with us? A what? Excuse me? Wait a minute. Speak into my good fucking ear. What? And this happens all the time. And so I don't think it's specific to fitness. I think it happens everywhere. It's just like we're getting a lot of beginners or people that have been in business for a little while and aren't completely crushing. So yeah, I don't think it's unique to it, but I think that we see it a lot just in terms of, because we're getting a lot of people that, they're not in the 30, 40 grand a month range. Mm-hmm. They're in the 5, 10, 15 grand a month range. And as soon as you get up to those higher ranges, the problems change.
So let me ask you that question then. So for somebody who's been in the industry for a while, then what are some of the problems that you see with the guys that are doing 25, 30, 40K a month, and they want to get to that 50, they want to get to that 60, 70, and 100K a month?
Yeah, what got you here won't get you there. And so it's hard to let go of what's working to strive for something bigger and better. That's the same thing with letting go of the gym, same idea. So comfort is the dream killer. And so, let's be real. If I snap my fingers and you were making 50K a month, or your listeners most people will go like, wait a minute, what? I'm good. I hit the fucking lotto. And I don't know. I've just always thought differently. Now, keep in mind, I'm from a little tiny town in central New York, right? If you would have polled my classmates from high school, they probably would not have put a vote on Steve Krebs being very successful. What that proves that change is possible. And so, yeah, you guys just have to be willing to change, and you have to be willing to go where others won't. You know, if I first thing I say when I start consulting someone, no matter what industry they're in, is like, cool, let me see your analytics on the ads that you're running. They start speaking different languages. Let me see your KPIs. Let me see where your business is at. What have you guys done? Where are you going? Where are you headed? There's not a lot of strategy and not a lot of planning. And that's why I built this thing. This is a custom planner for Yo Grow Your Gym, right? I like building shit like that because I know that's what's missing. It's specific to gym owners because we know what the problems are for gym owners, right? Which is really tracking your numbers, knowing your analytics, actually spending money in advertising, actually tracking your follow-up. And we make it really simple. And that's what the key is. If you can solve your customers' problems and make it simple for them, you're going to win, and you're going to win big. If you're too busy, pardon my French, blowing yourself on social media about how smart you are and how incredible you are and how in shape you are missing the fucking point. Because the people that you need to help, that really need your help, are going to be turned off by that type of behavior. So stop putting out content for other fucking coaches and trainers and talk to your target market and solve their problems. And if you don't understand what somebody that's heavy is going through, ask them. It's really not rocket science. It's just, I understand also that, man, I remember when I ran my gym, you're wearing a lot of hats and you're learning. So I have empathy for you guys right now. I remember. My life now is very different, but I busted my ass for a long time to get here. Man, my upstate New York accent just came out hard on that.
Yes, it did.
I want you guys to win. Ultimately, that's why I started these new programs. I don't really have to. And that's not bragging. I'm just saying, like, I don't have to. I'm doing really well. My life is great. I don't work a lot. I love my wife. We have fun every day. I live in Miami 9 months out of the year. I go back to New York for the fall to enjoy the fall. Like, life's pretty well good. You know? And so I'm trying to leave breadcrumbs for everybody. Hansel and Gretel shit, right? But at the end of the breadcrumbs, it's like, it's money and freedom and enjoyment and letting go of stuff that makes you miserable, and dealing with your stories and your problems and having healthier relationships with yourself and other people. That's what I enjoy. That's why I decided to do this, right? And the gym stuff I continue to do because I love working with Luca. That's my guy, his family, and we've been doing it for a long time, and it helps a lot of people, right? So yeah, Chris, I tell you what, man, it's like, if people only understood what they're capable of, if they just shed all of the bullshit. Right? If you're boozing all the time, partying all the time, and listen, we used to be crazy back in the day, but if you're doing all those things and you're not where you want to be, what are you celebrating? Mediocrity. At the end of the day, that's what you're celebrating. Now, I'm not saying don't have fun, because I like having fun too. But you know what's more fun than that? Having money, right? Having freedom. Being able to, so I'm going to tell you guys a really quick story. So my dad unexpectedly passed away in 2020, and it was fucking insane. I was actually in Miami. We're at a Yo Grow Your Gym mastermind. Luca was actually with me, and it was a year ago. It was 2 years ago yesterday. So it's like fresh on the top of my mind. And, you know, I get the call. It was fucking worst phone call of my life. And so, yeah, and my dad was remarried and had 2 adopted kids with his new wife. And we have this property up in New York that we grew up on, right? It's 130 some odd acres of land. And obviously before he got remarried, he let us know, like, don't worry, obviously it's for you guys, da, 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 da. But shit happened over the years, and there was, you know, his new wife, not my favorite person, and she pulled her little act, and I went to pick up the fucking will after my dad passed, and it was all in her name. And so that's not me speaking ill of my father. Like, hey, he made a decision. He's just a man, and I've forgiven him for that and worked through it. And it's taken 2 years, but I'm in a good place with it. My point of this story is simple. If I wasn't where I was at financially 2 years ago, because of the decisions I made, the work I've done, the hustling, I don't even want to say hustle, just smart work and investing in relationships, I bought it all back. I bought the land back. I bought his house back. I own it all. And so if you want to be able to, hopefully you never have to experience some shit like that, number one. But number two, wouldn't you love to be able to make sure that if something like that happened, or if someone in your family needed money, that you had them covered. There's nothing that will ever make me feel as good as that. I promise you all. And so, like, while we're all focused on fitness and Instagram, and real life is happening every day. You have a family. You have people that you care about. You have people that count on you. What's it going to take for you to become the version of you that becomes a real producer and a real provider, and not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, a complete fucking savage from start to finish? What's it going to take? And if you look at your life and the decisions you're making right now, you can easily point out the shit that does not serve you and that does not move you closer to getting to that point. It's that simple. And so I tell that story because, number one, I made a promise to myself once my dad passed that I would talk about him every chance I got, because I wouldn't be who I am without him. Literally and figuratively. He made me. Him and my mom, one, sunny in 1978. I was born in 79. And he also he owned a body shop pretty much 50 years. And he put his shop on the line so I could secure my loan for my gym.
Wow.
In 2007. So regardless of what he did after the fact, and that was, it was a shitty thing that he did, it doesn't erase all the good shit, right? So just realize, like, when I come on, when I talk, and when I, whatever, right? I'm always going to talk about shit like this because real life is happening at all times. And time goes by really fast. It really does. And I know it's cliche and everybody talks about it, but hopefully you guys can sense the sincerity in what I'm saying, right? I'm not trying to, like, dazzle you with bullshit. I'm telling you the fucking truth. And so, man, if your parents are alive, go be a dickhead and call them and go see them, right? If you have a problem with one of them, go squash that shit. Same thing with your siblings. You don't know when it's going to be the last time you have a conversation or see them. And so get your head out of your ass. Serve your clients and your business at the best of your ability so that you have free time to actually do the shit that's important. Stop sitting on your computer all day. If you're on your phone 2 hours a day, you've lost a month and a year. And I guarantee that most of you are on your phone way more than that. And you don't even need to be. You're being grossly inefficient. The end. So I guess if we go to number 4, problems that I see in gym owners and people in general, that's the fucking big one. Wasting time, finger banging this stupid fucking thing, and doing nothing. So you're on there all day, but you're not actually producing and creating with it. You're just maybe posting and then consuming the rest of the time. They got you hooked. You're a user. That's what they call us, by the way. You're a user. Now I use them. I post it, I ghost, and I run traffic on their platforms to gain more clients so I can help more people. Who's winning? I am in that situation. So if you're not doing that, make the switch. You may be in your 20s and 30s and think you got forever. Well, 43 came quick. I got wrinkles and shit. And my hair's going gray and beard's going gray and all kinds of crazy shit. I ache all the time now. It's crazy. But at 43, I still feel wonderful, but it is different. So I think more importantly than anything that we've talked about this whole time, Chris, is like what I just said about my dad and being able to come in and bring peace to my family. You can't really put a price tag on it, but there was one. Right? And I was glad to pay it.
Wow. Well, dude, super powerful story. Thank you for sharing that. My condolences about your dad. And, I could relate. My dad passed away in November of 2020. 15 months later, I lost my brother to drug addiction. And similar to your story in that, the work leading up to those events prepared you for something, right? Like prepared you for the situation you had to deal with. For me, and something I talk about all the time, is how hard training, proper nutrition, like cutting out the bullshit, right? Making the hard choices to make those decisions to stick with healthier foods consistently.
Yep.
It creates structure in your mind. It creates discipline, right? The jujitsu over the years, the Muay Thai over the years, all the training that helped callous my mind for me to be prepared for that moment. When that happened, I was actually able to handle it. Because to be honest, if I was just a gelatinous fuck, eating whatever the fuck I wanted, doing whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do, and drinking all the time, like I was doing years prior, man, I don't know how I would have handled it. I might have started using myself. I might have started just turning to the bottle or whatever.
Yep.
But I think the important lesson there is that like the accumulation of the shit that you're doing on a day-to-day basis will help prepare you for when life does throw shit in your face, because at one point or another, life will certainly throw that shit sandwich right in your face.
100%.
So, one last question for you, dude, because I know we're getting tight on time here. But you talked about leaving breadcrumbs earlier, right? Now, you, just as a result of listening to one of your podcasts with Luca years ago, you talked about The Richest Man in Babylon, and you talked about Automatic Millionaire. You recommended those two books. I ordered both of them, read both of them twice, been studying them and recommended them to other people now, right? And that's helped me manage my money better. And you're very sharp with money management, obviously. And I wonder if you have any advice to give the audience on money management.
Yeah. So in my mid-20s, I was 35 grand in credit card debt, in college loan debt. I was a fucking loser. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Did really well in college, got out, and was just like, I don't like working for people. I don't like this. I was partying all the time. So no matter where you're at, you can change. It just takes time, just like losing weight, right? If you're in a bad financial situation, number one, you put yourself there, which means you can get the fuck out. And the only way it's going to work is with strategy, with a sound plan, and consistent action. That's why I tell everybody about Automatic Millionaire, because it takes you out of the equation. It happens automatically without your emotions or your bullshit buying behaviors getting involved. Most people live far above their means. I've always been the opposite, outside of when I was like in my mid-20s being an asshole, right? Like, I learned from that situation, and that's why I'll never go back there. So yeah, I could talk money all day. We could do a 7-hour podcast on money, because I changed my relationship with money. And that's one of the main things that I teach in the first couple of weeks of when anybody works with me, is we get really clear on what your relationship with money is. Because your relationship with money was not developed by you. You learned it from other people, and most people grew up blue collar. I didn't grow up with a trust fund. We did okay. My dad did all right, but he was a blue collar guy. And so, yeah, you need to be literate financially, and you need to understand the game. And you also need to understand that you should be building safety nets around you at all times with money. It requires you a lot less money than you think to live a very incredible life. Number one, if you're not an asshole. I don't wear Gucci. I like sneakers, right? I like sneakers, but those are little mini celebrations when I hit targets, goals, whatever. Do I drive a nice car? Yeah, I've got a nice car. I like my car. I have a nice place that I live here in Miami. I have a nice place in New York. Like those, but those are what? Assets. So if you're just getting started, take the next 5 to 10 years and legitimately just live as frugally as possible, especially with the recession and all the crazy shit that's going on with the geriatric dipshit we have in the White House, right? So at the end of the day, you have to mind your Q's more than ever, right? P's and Q's, right? You have to mind your P's and Q's more than ever. You have to be aware, and we can't pretend that it's not happening. So for me, it's always been, always have at least 6 months of cash. We call it the oh shit fund, sitting in an account somewhere. And the oh shit fund is just, it's peace of mind. Now, over the years, now my oh shit fund has grown. It's grown, right? But it's grown, but what happens is you guys don't, like, here's what I know, this is maybe going like too far down cash stuff, but you don't want your cash rotting either. So if it gets to a certain amount where I have like multiple years of money sitting there, I go flip it into property. So if I'll give you guys the quick and dirty version of what I teach inside of, like, I have a program called Young Bucks as well, which is, it's kind of closed right now. If you're a young entrepreneur and you want to talk about it, hit me up, but we'll think about accepting more people into it. It's only $500 a month, and we do a call a week. I teach these kids everything, and it's a passion project of mine. I just like teaching, and I like helping them avoid the mistakes that I made. So here's what we do first. Step one is build your own shit fund. That means you don't buy dumb shit. You don't go out to nice dinners. You don't rock cool fucking sneakers. You build your oh shit account. 6 months of living expenses. That's step one. Step two, now you're going to set up like, okay, I have this oh shit account. Now I'm going to build towards my first property. Buy a duplex, a 2-family home, live in one half, rent out the other half, you live for free. Now what happens? Oh shit, now you actually have money to do what? Invest into the next things. We're building safety nets, right? Put your money into a 401k, a Roth IRA, right? Notice I didn't say stocks or crypto yet. Why? Well, you can see right now, stock market down, crypto down. If you needed that money, get some Vaseline out because you're about to get worked, right? So I don't play with money that I'm not willing to lose. I look at stocks and crypto as gambling. The end. So that's the process. We get a property, we move into, okay, now we're setting our 401ks up or our Roth IRAs, simple IRAs, SEP IRAs, stuff like that. I preface this with, I'm not a financial advisor. Go talk to a financial advisor. Warning, warning. I will not, don't come at me if you fuck this up. But I didn't start investing in stocks and crypto until I had all those other bases covered. That's when I started playing with the funny money type of shit, just so you guys understand. So that's the process with money. That automating it, getting really clear with your relationship with it. And then the last piece. If you don't define what success is for you, you're going to base it off of mirroring somebody else. And you may be mirroring something that you don't even want. This happens a lot when you hire a mentor. So all of a sudden you want to be that guy or girl, right? Like, oh, I'm going to be like, maybe they're building something you don't want. My highest value is freedom. And so I've built companies and businesses where freedom comes first. Now, freedom requires money, right? So I need to make money. But all of those companies, I have partners that are very strong where I'm weak. We have teams that do the shit that I hate. And so you can see, guys, that this is not an accident. I'm not asking you to think I'm the coolest dude in the world, even though I'm up there. But I'm asking you to understand that I'm just a regular guy that studies and reads incessantly, but actually puts it to fucking work. There's a huge difference. Fitness people are well known to be consumers of information, and they just read and they study and they put different letters behind their name to make themselves feel more important. And at the end of the day, if it makes you no more money and it doesn't actually help your clients more, who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. What I want to see is you have more freedom and more joy in your life. And for you to be able to take care of your family and go on vacations and go out to nice dinners and not have to look at the bill and go. But to get there, you have to do that first. You have to choose to do it, even if you can't. Here's the hardest thing. You have to choose to do it, even if you can't afford to buy the new kicks or to go out to a nice dinner every week, right? One of the things that we talk about is like non-negotiable date night if you're in a serious relationship. It doesn't mean you have to go out to dinner every week if you're trying to put your money away. Be creative, you shithead. She'll like that more anyway. It's easy to take her out to dinner and look at your phones and not interact. It's a little more difficult to create cool scenarios and experiences for her to make her feel like she's getting swept off of her feet. And I don't give a fuck if you've been with her for 20 years for being a lazy asshole. It's that simple, right? So at the end of the day, like you guys sense my style of coaching. I call it full contact coaching with high impact accountability. I like to collide with people because I love them enough to actually call them out on their bullshit, right? So regardless of where you're at in life, what your current financial or business situation is, you can find a way out. You just have to love yourself enough to be real and honest, to see where you're at, get focused on where you want to go. And then if you're willing to, make the investments necessary to get there faster by hiring coaches and mentors that got their shit together and that can, they can help you. But here's one thing with me, Chris, and maybe we can leave it at this. It's like, I require two things from people. They're watching their wallet, right? Their time and their money. And with those two things, there's a third piece, which is effort. Effort. I'm not in the business of just taking somebody's money and being like, oh, I don't care what you do. It's not how I operate. I have very high expectations, insanely high. Actually, my expectations for you are going to be much higher than you think are possible for you. That's the beauty of this thing. And if you can think about that and apply it to your own life and to your clients, what do you think will happen? Be fun to talk.
Skyrocket. Dude, amazing, dude. I really feel like I could talk to you all day about this stuff. And I know I can't take up that much of your time, but there's so much value in what you're saying and so much power. And I could see your passion, dude. So it's really amazing to talk to you. Last thing before you go, tell everybody about a little bit about FU28, On Fire 90, where they could find you, where they could find the programs, all that good stuff.
Sure. So if you're in the fitness space, Yo Grow Your Gym 60-day accelerator. We're going to launch the next phase of it in January. So watch Luca's Instagram or mine. It's at Coach Steve Krebs. His is at Luca Hocevar. Or just go to yogrowyourgym.com and that'll pop up for you guys. It's 60 days. It's fully immersive. It's awesome. 12 modules. You're guided through the whole way. There's live coaching every week, Q&A. It's basically like you're going to feel like Luca and our team in Yo Grow Your Gym is on your team, which should give you a lot more confidence to implement. And it's a guaranteed you make 10K or we give you your money back. So I mean, that we live by that guarantee as well. If you feel like if you're not in the fitness space and you want to level up, right? If you want to level up across the board and just have more energy, have better focus, just get better results across the board in your life, then FU28 is a great place to start. It's what we really do focus on, the things that I just mentioned. It's only 28 days. It's brand new. If you go to fu28.com, there is a page up, but it's not fully ready to roll yet because I'm getting clear on what that offer looks like. And then On Fire 90 is onfire90.com. That is the 90-day component of that. They're most likely going to be sold together, right? So it's going to come in one package, and that way we get your bullshit out of your way in 28 days so that we can roll into 90 days. Get one of these bad Johnnies. We do live calls every week. You're inside of a group, and it's really just built around the idea that you have a lot more to give, and it's not just about business, right? Business is, if we look at the way I set targets in there, Chris, like business is number 4 out of 5. 5 is fun, right? But we use this framework to really get people insanely clear. We set targets on all 5 of those things for the 90 days. And then it's go time, right? There's a lot of accountability. There's a lot of interaction. There's a lot of support. At the end of the day, it just comes down to, hey man, like finding the right person for you, finding the right coach, mentor for you. Maybe I'm not the flavor for you, and that's okay. I'm the first one, by the way, that if somebody reaches out to me and I feel like they're not the right fit, to refer you somewhere else, right? Because ultimately I just want to help. That I actually just wrote a book that's coming out called I'm Here to Help. So that's coming out in the next probably 2 months. And so keep your eyes peeled on that. I don't know if that URL is available, but I'll let you guys know down the line where that's at. But if you follow my Instagram, you can see I'm putting out content every day, free content, short reels that are giving information just like this. So check it out. Coach Steve Krebs at Instagram. Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. And if you guys are watching this, listening to this, just remember, like, no matter how bad things are right now, you have the potential and the ability to make them better, but you have to believe that, right? You're 100% who you believe yourself to be, and you're 100% capable of what you believe yourself to be capable of. The stories and beliefs that you have, the perception that you have of the world and yourself are by far the most important things that you can focus on, because then success comes down the line, not the other way around.
No better way to end it than that, bro. Steve, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, make sure you head over at Coach Steve Krebs, right, on Instagram, at Coach Steve Krebs. Make sure you give him a follow. And Steve, thank you again, dude. Just hang on the line so we could wrap up here.
Of course. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.